I never thought I would be the man who would question his wife's loyalty. When we got married, I believed in us. I believed in the vows we took, the life we built, and the love we shared. But lately, something had changed. It wasn't just the usual ups and downs of a relationship, it was different. She had become distant, distracted. The woman who used to greet me with a warm smile now barely acknowledged my presence. Her phone was always in her hand, screen tilted away from me. Late nights at work became more frequent. At first, I ignored it, chalking it up to stress, but the gut feeling wouldn't go away. She had always been affectionate, but suddenly, every touch felt forced. The warmth in her voice was gone. Conversations became mechanical. She was present in the house, but it felt like she had already left. Then the small things started adding up. The random giggles while texting. The sudden obsession with how she looked before going out. The constant irritation at little things I did, as if I had become an inconvenience in my own home. I told myself I was being paranoid. I convinced myself that I was overthinking. But deep down, I knew. One night, I casually asked, "Who keeps you so entertained on your phone?" Her reaction was instant, defensive, almost hostile. "Just a friend from work," she said quickly. Too quickly. I wanted to believe her. But trust doesn't come from words. It comes from actions. And her actions were telling me something was wrong. The breaking point came when she left her phone on the counter while taking a shower. A message popped up. I glanced at it. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." I felt my hands clench. My breath caught in my throat. Every doubt, every suspicion, it was all confirmed in one short text. I should have confronted her then and there. I should have demanded answers. But something held me back. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was the disbelief that the woman I loved had betrayed me. Instead, I took a step back. I needed more than a message. I needed to know the full truth. The following days, I paid closer attention. Her late nights, her guarded conversations, the way she always seemed to be somewhere else, even when she was right in front of me. I didn't want to go through her phone, but she had already broken the trust. I had no choice. When she was asleep, I unlocked it. What I found shattered everything. Messages. Photos. Plans. She had been seeing someone for months. It wasn't just a fling. It was a full-blown affair. I felt sick. My heart pounded as I scrolled through the messages. She had told him things she used to tell me. Called him the names she once called me. She had replaced me in ways I never thought possible. I put the phone down, my hands shaking. My mind raced. What do I do? Do I confront her now? Do I wait? The rage inside me boiled, but I needed to stay in control. Then something unexpected happened. A message from an unknown number appeared. "We need to talk. It's about our spouses." I stared at the message, my heart pounding. I replied cautiously, "Who is this?" The response came instantly. "I'm his wife." It felt like the ground beneath me crumbled. The man my wife was cheating with was married too. And now his wife had found out. She wanted to meet, to talk. I hesitated. This was a stranger. But she was the only other person in the world who truly understood what I was going through. I agreed. That was the moment everything changed. I arrived at the coffee shop early, my mind racing. I had no idea what to expect. A part of me wondered if this was a mistake, but curiosity and the need for answers overpowered my hesitation. Then she walked in. She looked composed, but I could see the exhaustion in her eyes. The same pain I felt reflected in her expression. She sat down across from me, took a deep breath, and spoke first. "I'm Olivia," she said, her voice calm but firm. "And I think my husband is having an affair with your wife." Hearing it out loud made it feel even more real. I nodded slowly. "I already know," I admitted. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. "How long?" "Just a few days," I said. I saw the messages on her phone. She exhaled, nodding as if confirming something she already suspected. "I found out last week." I wasn't sure at first, but then I checked his phone. He was careless. There was a moment of silence between us. Neither of us knew what to say. What was there to say? We were two strangers connected by betrayal. Finally, Olivia spoke again. I need to know how far this has gone. I pulled out my phone and showed her the messages I had found. She looked through them, her jaw tightening. He told me he was working late those nights, she muttered. Guess I was just as blind as you. The bitterness in her tone matched what I felt. I hesitated before asking, what do you plan to do? Her eyes darkened. I'm divorcing him. The bluntness of her answer surprised me. I had been so caught up in my own pain that I hadn't even considered the next step. I had been living in reaction mode, unable to think beyond the betrayal itself. She noticed my hesitation. And you? I didn't know how to respond. Part of me still clung to the past, to the life I thought I had. But another part of me knew there was no going back. Trust, once broken, rarely heals the same way. I don't know, I admitted. I never thought I'd be in this position. Olivia nodded as if she understood. Neither did I. But I refuse to be someone's second choice. And if he thinks I'll sit around while he plays house with another woman, he's in for a rude awakening. Her strength was admirable. She wasn't drowning in sorrow. She was taking control. Seeing her so decisive made me realize how lost I was in comparison. She leaned forward slightly. What if we confront them together? The suggestion caught me off guard. Together? She nodded. They've been lying to us for months. They think they're in control. I say we take that control back. I wasn't sure how to respond. A confrontation wasn't something I had fully considered yet. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. They had been hiding in the shadows, sneaking around, believing they were untouchable. Exposing them together would strip away the secrecy they thrived on. How do you want to do it? I asked. A small, cold smile touched her lips. I have an idea. She explained her plan, and as I listened, something inside me shifted. For the first time since this nightmare began, I didn't feel powerless. I didn't feel like the victim. I felt ready. By the time we finished our coffee, we had a plan in place. Olivia was sharp, methodical. She had been preparing for this, and now I was right there with her. We were done playing their game. Now it was our turn. 21/02, 11:07 p.m. Naeem Khan. The plan was simple. Olivia knew her husband's schedule, and I knew my wife's habits. They had grown careless, believing their secret was safe. That arrogance would be their downfall. A week later, Olivia sent me a message. Tonight. I knew exactly what that meant. I left work early, claiming I wasn't feeling well. At home, I played my part, acting normal as my wife got ready. She put extra effort into her appearance, wearing the dress I once told her was my favorite. The irony wasn't lost on me. She barely looked at me as she grabbed her phone and keys. I'm meeting Lisa for dinner, she said, avoiding my eyes. I nodded. Have fun. She paused, as if she expected me to react. When I didn't, she quickly left. Olivia and I arrived at the hotel separately. We had already checked in under fake names, using the room directly across from theirs. We didn't need cameras or spies. We were going to catch them in real time. We sat in silence, waiting. My pulse was steady, but my mind raced. Part of me still struggled to believe this was happening, that the woman I had built a life with was in the next room, betraying me without a second thought. Then we heard them. Laughter. Soft at first, then louder. They were comfortable, completely unaware of what was coming. Olivia checked her phone. They ordered champagne. Her voice was devoid of emotion. I clenched my jaw. Let's do this. We stepped out into the hallway. Olivia's husband had left the door slightly open, probably expecting room service. How fitting. She pushed the door open, and we walked inside. Time slowed. My wife sat on the bed, a glass of champagne in hand, her smile frozen as her eyes met mine. Across from her, Olivia's husband looked equally stunned. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The weight of their actions hung thick in the air. Finally, Olivia broke the silence. Well, don't stop on our account. My wife shot to her feet, her glass slipping from her fingers. What are you doing here? I folded my arms. That's my question. Her face paled. I can explain. No need. Olivia cut in. We know everything. Olivia's husband stood, running a hand through his hair. Babe, listen. Don't babe me, she snapped. You're a liar and a cheater. You threw away our marriage for this. My wife turned to me, her eyes pleading. It was a mistake. I laughed, a hollow sound. A mistake? You've been doing this for months. She stepped closer. I didn't mean to hurt you. I stared at her, feeling nothing but disgust. You just didn't mean to get caught. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She knew she had lost control. Olivia pulled out her phone. By the way, we've been recording. Just in case you two try to lie your way out of this. The color drained from their faces. My wife turned to me again. We can fix this. Please. I shook my head. No. We can't. Olivia's husband tried to approach her, but she stepped back. We're done. I already filed. My wife gasped. Filed. She turned to me, panic creeping into her voice. You're divorcing me? I held up my own set of papers. Already in motion. She collapsed onto the bed, eyes wide. No, this can't be happening. Olivia scoffed. Oh, it's happening. We turned and walked out, leaving them in the mess they created. As the door shut behind us, Olivia exhaled. That felt good. I nodded. Better than I expected. We had come for closure, and we got it. Now it was time to move on. 2102, 11:07 p.m. Naeem Khan. In the days that followed, everything moved quickly. Olivia and I stayed in contact, not because we sought comfort in each other, but because we had unfinished business. Divorce proceedings were already in motion, and neither of us wanted to drag this out longer than necessary. My wife tried everything to change my mind. First, she acted like she was remorseful, leaving messages about how she had made a terrible mistake. When I didn't respond, the messages turned into long-winded explanations about how she had been feeling neglected, how she never intended to hurt me, how this was just a moment of weakness. I ignored every word. Then came the anger. She accused me of overreacting, of throwing away our marriage without even trying to work things out. She blamed Olivia, saying she had manipulated me into making rash decisions. The irony wasn't lost on me. She had no problem betraying me for months, but expected me to be the one to fight for her. I refused to engage. She could spin whatever story she wanted, but the truth remained. She had chosen to betray me, and now she had to live with the consequences. Olivia had her own battles to fight. Her husband made attempts to win her back, too, though his approach was more pathetic than aggressive. He showed up at her workplace once, pleading for a second chance, claiming he'd been confused and tempted but never meant for it to go this far. She told him in no uncertain terms that there was nothing left between them. He left, shoulders hunched, defeated. She called me afterward, not to cry about it, but to laugh. They really thought we'd just take them back like fools, she said. It was strange, this new dynamic we had, two people bound not by romance, but by the shared experience of betrayal. We never crossed any lines. There was no flirtation, no suggestion of turning our misfortune into something more. We were just two people who understood each other in a way no one else could. Meanwhile, my wife was unraveling. Mutual friends reached out, telling me she was spiraling. Without my financial stability, she struggled to maintain the lifestyle she had grown used to. Her AP, the man she had risked everything for, had no interest in supporting her. He moved on quickly, likely finding someone else to fool with his empty charm and fake promises. She showed up at my door one evening, looking nothing like the confident woman who had once thrown our marriage away without hesitation. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen from crying. I messed up, she admitted. I didn't respond. I thought I wanted something different, something exciting. But it wasn't real. It was never real. Still, I said nothing. She stepped closer. I miss you. I miss us. I exhaled, finally meeting her eyes. No, you miss the life I gave you. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Please don't do this. We can fix this. We can start over. I shook my head. You didn't love me. You loved what I provided. She grabbed my arm, desperation in her grip. I was stupid, okay? I got caught up in the fantasy. But I swear, I see things clearly now. I gently removed her hand. It's too late. She sobbed openly. So that's it? You're just going to throw everything away? I stared at her for a long moment before responding.
No.
You did. I closed the door, shutting out the last remnants of what we used to be. The divorce was finalized within months. She got less than she expected. Most of our assets were protected, and her lawyer wasn't skilled enough to fight for more. She moved into a small apartment, a far cry from the comfortable home we once shared. Meanwhile, I rebuilt. I focused on myself, on my career, on the future that lay ahead of me. Olivia and I stayed in touch, not out of necessity, but because we had developed a genuine friendship. She thrived in her new life, finding happiness in her independence. One day, she sent me a message. Funny how things turned out, huh? I replied, better than I expected. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it.